personal issue tonight he's got to take care of. So it's just the 7 of us.
Okay.
Oh, you?
Okay. The first thing on the agenda tonight is the under budget and finance is the one we missed last week. So motion to approve the 22-23 PSBA membership all access package. Total cost is $14,569.14. 21-22 was $13,400. The increase on that is basically due to the addition of adding the administrative regulations, which goes along with the policy, which is the procedures that we use which guide the board policies to that package. That is your all access, which is where everything that you use, policy updates, webinars, training, board access, your boards, if you choose to, your board evaluation tool, that was all posted online for your review.
Questions?
The alternative organization to PSBA?
Yeah, what would be the alternative to using them for all those things?
There isn't one.
What about Heritage
Sure,
Heritage Foundation?
Well, I'm talking about like, I mean, obviously, I guess we're required by law to use it as board members, right?
You're not required by law. You would have to pay for your individual training through them. You would have to buy the package separately for your policy maintenance.
Right, you're
through
required
them.
to do the training though by law, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
training you have
As
to
a
do.
board member and
Yeah.
right, well, how much does that cost the board? Hundreds of dollars or is it
Yeah.
like?
You would have to, each thing is worth, I would have to look it up individually as to what it is. Policy manual development is a couple $1,000s on itself. The like administrative regulations is $764 for the year. Webinars cost per webinar. Your online training is so much. Your board self-assessment is so much. Your standard membership package is alone is $2,500, and then everything that you add on top of that is more money. So if you bought everything separately, is almost $16,000, and that's why I do it. I could look it up separately.
Are all public schools members of PSBA?
In Pennsylvania, of public schools, I would probably venture to guess yes. National, no, but Pennsylvania school boards, yes. They do a lot of work in Harrisburg on school district's behalf. They do a lot on charter school reform. They do a lot of lobbying on behalf of public schools.
And we've been with them for several years, I don't know, how many years doing this?
Well, that was on under the board.
Any other questions? Dawn, you're okay with it?
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Not okay with it? We're good to go.
Yeah, you're up.
I'm up. So unprepared. Okay. Personnel committee. Yes, we have 3 motions here. Motion to approve the 20. You want to take this, or I can just? I'll roll them out here.
Okay.
I'll intro here. To approve the 2022-2023 support staff handbook and benefits brochure. Want to take them separate if any have questions? Motion 2 to approve, ratify the conference attendance of James Rothenberger and Jonathan Price to attend Tech Talk Live 2022 and the LLIU 13 on May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2022. Cost not to exceed $131.10. And discussion regarding SOS contract and secretarial positions, example, $16. District cost, $63,863.29. SOS, $46,427.
To clarify, number 2, that's cost per person or total?
Total.
Is it online or something?
No, it's just mileage. There's no registration cost.
Oh,
They travel together in one car.
Did you have something on this SOS on?
No, I just need a discussion on
SOS is what now?
it.
It's like
The-
cafeteria staff.
It's SOS is our contract where we
Contract,
outsourced
yeah.
our support staff. In the past, we have, previous boards have agreed to outsource through electrician, our paraprofessionals and our custodial maintenance staff and our cafeteria staff. To this point, we have not been outsourcing our secretarial staff, but mostly because we haven't had openings for secretarial positions. We are starting to have secretarial position openings, and in the past, we have not been filling our secretarial positions through SOS, although it is part of the contract. So as we continue to move forward, I just need clarification from this board whether I'm supposed to have those positions. We control the hiring. They apply through SOS. We get the applications, our staff, whoever the secretarial, if it's an elementary opening, high school opening, whoever has the opening has a straight secretarial position, not a specific like PIMS reporting or business office or accounts payable, those kind of positions. This is a straight secretary position. Whoever the supervisor is, they interview for that person. It's not hired by the
Yeah,
outside.
this is a temp, basically a temp agency.
In a way, but
What
they're
does SOS stand?
students, it's it's school operations services group.
School
Yeah.
operations.
It's Barb Nissel. She's the president of the company. They are one of the groups that we have on the list that we were going to outsource. We've not done secretarial positions to this point. But we also have not had secretarial positions open in the district, but we are starting to see our secretarial positions are anticipating some retirements in those areas as we move forward. In the past, we have not. So it's considering it is, a different board, at this point. So I'm asking whether or not I'm supposed to hire on district positions, as district in-house positions on district payroll or outsource those positions. SOS starting position is $16 an hour. Our starting rate is $14.25 for a district in-house. So all I did was use $16 so you could see the difference. If we hire a person in-house at $16 an hour, the district cost on that position is $63,000 a year. If that $16 an hour for a secretarial position through outsourcing SOS is $46,004. So that's the difference on a $16 an hour person. We hire in-house secretaries, then you pay your insurance, you pay your medical, dental, life, and we don't have vision, but you pay, the appeasers, all those other pieces, but they are on your payroll through the district. If you hire through SOS, you control the hiring, you control the performance, you control the job description, all that. They just have their check coming from somewhere else. They get paid more money through outsourcing. They just, they have the 401 matching K through the business model. Their insurance is through SOS. The district saves money. It's just a different format, just as we do cafeteria, maintenance, custodial. I just need direction on which way the board wants to go now that we have secretarial positions opening, whether you want to maintain them in-house or whether you wish to outsource
So
them.
what do you, how does that work if you get one and you really like the person?
They're permanent position. We're hired until you eliminate the position or,
Oh,
it's not a temporary position. It's a permanent hire.
but it's outsourced.
It's just outsourced, just like our cafeteria, our
I
pros,
didn't
our
realize
maintenance.
how that all.
Yeah,
I didn't want to be, I didn't want a revolving
No.
door, like we only have it for one term.
no, you have a contract with them, with SOS, that you just basically are hiring through the agency. That you pay them a flat rate for that position and they take care of all the outside stuff. So you're not paying all the benefit side of the house. They're not on your workman's comp. You're not paying their retirement. You're not paying healthcare, all of that pieces. Whether if you're on your payroll, then you have all the associated benefits that go with that
And
position.
how does it work though, if a person doesn't work out, same
Then-
way? You
Then
just
it's the
said
business model.
Just,
It's an at-will employee, then you're done and you find someone else. You don't have to go through the same termination procedures you would for a school.
I'm all in.
How many secretary positions do we have right now?
I don't have that number in front of me.
You said you anticipate retirement. Which position do you anticipate retirement in?
There's several coming up in the next year
Um,
and they will need to be replaced.
which one? Would that be also the one that we just promoted to HR?
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
How many people went in the cafeteria went from us to SOS this year?
Most of the ones that this year, no, they're not, because most of ours that moved from cafeteria to SOS did several years ago.
They did.
Yeah,
It
most
was
of our pairs that went over already
did
have gone
better.
over.
during COVID.
Oh, you mean you had people that were on staff with Oley that moved over? there?
Oh, yeah, because they make a lot more money.
They make a lot more
They
money.
make a lot more money and they also get unemployment through them. They don't get it through us.
I already figured that, Matt. They make
Sounds
more
like-
there.
Sounds like a win-win to me.
Yeah.
So like so if you're a secretary with us, you'll make $4.25 an
Yeah.
hour. And if you don't get the retirement because it's 401k through them, but over there, you're making $16 an hour versus 14 with us.
Yeah.
That's the difference. The difference is you don't have PSERS. But it's a business model versus a school model. That's why the board several years ago decided to outsource, is because we do save money. The positions that we do not outsource are primarily the business office, because they control $35 million and you want those people
Yeah.
very much on your payroll. Accounts payable, fiscal assistants, all of those people. These are more of your building secretarial positions. We're anticipating.
But SOS it's been good for us. I mean, they got us out of the whole cafeteria.
Oh, big time.
Within a year or two, we were in the hole before they got here. So,
Almost all of our custodial people our maintenance guys are ours on staff, and they're amazing. But they're doing a lot of training right now across the district. It's a matter of where your check comes from. We still treat them, like our employees. They get all the same benefits. All of those pieces. It's the same thing with we have IU employees that work in the district. Their check comes from the VCIU, but we treat them like they're ours. But I just need some, direction as to whether we're going to implement that part of it, so that if these retirements do come through in the next year or so, that we're anticipating, that we advertise it accordingly, and then I can work with Barb on the advertising as far as what that looks like and the pay rates, because they are higher, and there are people who do understand that they do make more money on that side, because they're not getting the health care coverage, and they're not a Blue Cross, or they're not getting the retirement. Their healthcare coverage is different because it's a high deductible, because it's a business model they can buy into, or they also, through her business, they also have the option of getting what they call that. It's like maybe $2,500 that you can use to buy into the health marketplace, in which you can buy your own health insurance. There's like 2 different models she has, depending on the individual and what they choose to. Which they do, which ours is, very different. So it's just which way this particular board would like us to go with that.
everybody's on board, so.
So that would be a saving in the long run for, do you know the number difference?
Well, in this example alone is probably,
This is just for one position, the example, correct?
it's just one example, correct?
Yes. Good.
We're ready in the policy.
I'm up again. Okay, policy, we have one motion. That's to approve the following policies, 300 section, personnel for second reading. Board approval will be June 15th.
Can you please, B09.1, the telework, is that because of, flex days, or where would it fall?
Maria, which one did you say?
B9.1.
Telework.
Telework is 309.1 is telework is when we are closed on a FID day and the secretarial staff is working from home those days, because it is a remote work day.
So that's for those instances.
I'm sure it covers more than just that, but that's a new policy?
It's a new policy, it's not a new practice, but it's a new policy. Practice originated right before COVID. But it's actually a policy that's been used for, not only for snow days, but we used it before snow days. And then it came about during COVID. And then we've been using it for FID days and for snow days, so that employees don't have to make up the extra time that they miss when the district is closed for that weather.
Policy 314, medical examination.
Medical evaluation?
No, medical examination.
Evaluate.
Evaluation.
Evaluation.
Okay. looking at. Type of medical examination.
14 label.
Examination.
It's, okay, no, it is examination. It's on the policy, it says examination. It says evaluation.
Okay. Could you please elaborate, because I understand this is guidance of COVID-19 something. How is that going to be affecting, what is going to look like health monitoring for purposes of this policy when it comes to the teachers? And also, when it comes to the religious exemption?
This isn't just COVID-19, this is any health monitoring and any communicable disease. This could be flu, this could be measles, it could be mumps, it could be any communicable disease.
How's it different from what we're doing now?
It's not any different than what we've been doing prior to COVID.
Yeah, the definition, there is a new one, the health monitoring for purposes of this policy shall mean screening or monitoring an employee for specific symptoms that may indicate the presence of a communicable disease in accordance with guidance from state and local health officials.
Correct.
So what does it look like?
It could
They're
look,
gonna just check people randomly, or?
no, that looks like exactly like it did prior to COVID. Somebody comes in and they look like they have a fever and they have a bad cough, and we send them to the nurse, and the nurses decide they look like they have the flu, and we send them home and they need to get checked out by a doctor before they come back to work. Or they come in and they have red spots and it looks like they have the chicken pox or the measles, or they have swollen glands and it looks like they have the mumps, or they sound like they have pneumonia, and we tell them they have to be seen by a doctor before they can come back to work.
So in other words, standard procedure, it's always obviously.
It's always been this way prior
If
to
somebody
COVID.
is sick in the middle of school
Well,
day,
there
they
is a
send
whole-
the nurse, they'll check them out.
Jeff, do you have it in front of you?
I don't know.
And there's a whole new paragraph, health monitoring, and
Right.
communicable disease.
What
The
did they have
district may
before?
require
That's what we had
employees-
before, it just wasn't in policy. Yeah, so we added it to policy because that's the practice that's been in existence.
What is a designated staff to check for signs and symptoms?
That's the nurses. It's our medical staff.
So it wasn't in the policy before, this whole paragraph,
Right,
and now it is,
no, it is.
but we did it anyway.
Yeah. So we grounded it in policy. Yeah. Yep.
I think Maria's concern is, obviously we've gone through a little chaos with COVID the last couple of years, and then something new is, on the horizon of, I don't mean to speak for her, but I think that's where I understand the policy. It makes sense to me, but I'm just saying that might be her concern.
Yeah, none of this has to do with COVID.
Yeah.
It just gives the nurses, like, if you have an employee who says, I don't want to go to the nurse and I have the flu and I want to stay and work because I don't want to use my
I
sick
I
days.
get it.
The nurses says, the policy says I have the right to screen you, and the OVA or PSCA can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It gives the nurses one more piece to stand on as a public school official. And that's the purpose of policy, is to help them have that extra support from the board level to say they have the right to make sure that everyone is safe and not exposed to any kind of a disease. Because that's the thing with the next pandemic, it's not going to matter what you have in policy. Whatever the CDC, the State Department, and the Health Department tells you to do during a pandemic or any kind of world crisis, all your policies go out the window anyway. This is just to help, policies just help govern what happens on a day-to-day basis and gives them that kind of backbone to be able to stand on when you go up against a tough parent or you go up against a tough employee, and we all have them, so.
That satisfied, Maria? Any other policies?
Guess that's it for me.
Dr. Shank, go ahead.
Number one is e-learning for school safety and wellness suite. That is our online training that has all of our safety modules that teachers or all employees are required to complete prior to the start of the school year, or everything from de-escalation to ALICE training to all of that. That is an annual subscription for about, includes also our advisors and our coaches for about 217 employees.
Is that required by who?
State Department under Act 44.
That's very effective. Very effective.
Yes, yeah.
It's like background,
It's all, it's de-escalation techniques, it's safe schools training, it's, it has child abuse in it, it has, a homeless training, it has how to deal with crisis, it has to do with bloodborne pathogens, it has to do with a whole bank of stuff we have to do every year.
what is it? I mean, the teachers,
It's an online training,
it's online.
it's online, yeah.
It's a new program. There's no comparison.
No,
to
we've been
previous
doing it for years.
Do they still have? My dad, when he was here, he said they had a training one time, a guy came in, like terrorist training or something. You guys
It was
do that?
Alice
Oh,
training.
that's Alice. Yeah, we do
Yeah,
both
we
in
do.
person
He
and,
said that was the most worth it day of.
Yeah.
He said it was pretty cool, like,
yeah,
It was extremely well.
it was well done, and it was like, we actually.
we do it both ways. We have an
kept us
online
motivated to
module.
learn.
The person that did it was an excellent presenter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still do that, just a different guy by now, probably, I'm
There
sure.
used to be him.
Oh, was it you? That one.
That's why I was. Yeah.
I should have got
He
it.
was just patting himself on the back there.
Got it.
No, he was a lead trainer. He was
Somebody
trained as a lead
back
trainer. We do it both ways. We do it in person. We practice in person, and we also have an online module we do every year. Every teacher, every employee is required to do it every year. And then there's a whole bank of stuff that it's almost 8 hours of training they must do every year prior to the start of the school year. And this is part of it. And then there's a whole other part of that we have to do too. Which that contract isn't up till 24, so you won't see that renewal. But we do them online because when it costs almost $1,000 a day to bring in people to do these in person. So this allows people to do it at their convenience, but then there's certificates they have to turn in to say that they did complete them, and their quizzes and monitor and all that kind of stuff. And then we do the practice stuff in person, so they learn it outside wherever they're at, and then they actually practice in person. So, and then they can always do more than what we have here, which we have a lot of people who actually do, especially our younger teachers. Do that, everything from, there's some health stuff on EpiPens and feeding treatments, and I mean, it's a whole, it works out really well, but it is annual. More of that unfunded mandate stuff out of Harrisburg.
Did it go up a lot last year, wasn't it?
No,
A couple bucks.
couple bucks. Number two is a new one. We are working on, I just finished an affiliation agreement with Albright as they've kind of rebuilt their education program for the placement of student teachers beginning with the 22-23 school year. So that is a new one. Trying to work with them to get partnership with Albright.
What does it mean?
How does it work? Are we obligated to take their students or just kind of a,
It's their student teachers.
right?
Yeah, so we're working not only with their student teachers, but also working with their STEM Academy. And Adele, who used to be at Conrad Weiser, and she built the big STEM program up at Conrad Weiser, who's now at Albright.
Okay.
And partnering with them to get our STEM Academy aligned with theirs so that we can get the dual enrollment program running out of Albright as well. So it's just another way of we're partnering with to get our partnership with Albright stronger.
What does it mean, the placement of student teachers?
Well, I guess they have student teachers,
They're streamlined with us. They come to us first or something, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
And do we have to take them? Do we have a choice? How does
I
it
don't know if we're
work?
obligated to actually have to take anybody. Do we, is there an assessment?
Yeah, they send us the resumes, they place them with our teachers, they work with our teachers in our classrooms. And then there's a whole evaluation process that we go through with them.
Do we get a lot of applications for student teachers on that? I'm curious if we get more applications or we have to turn people away. Do we use more?
It depends on the university.
We do it this time quite a bit, right?
We do a lot with Kutztown. We do a lot with, starting to get more from Alvernia. We're starting with more with our partnership schools that we know that we're getting quality from, and there's some that we will not take student teachers from. Because they don't send us those that are ready.
Does it also like specify the salary, the benefits, or it's just like?
Yeah, Student teachers.
Okay.
There's no selling.
Or
There's only a stipend for the teacher.
I'm sorry.
It's like an internship. They have to do part of their curriculum.
Like a
when they
shadowing?
graduate.
Like an internship.
Right.
Hey, you ever a student
Okay.
teacher? Yeah.
So yeah, no,
So the internship of the
Doesn't cost us
students to
anything.
come here and, to be able to work side by side with the teacher and
Right.
learn the ropes. Thank you.
Number 3 is the MOU with Big Brothers Big Sisters for Berks County for the 22-23 school year between the high school and the elementary school.
Has this program been here before?
Yes, about third or fourth year for it.
So what is the purpose and how does it work?
no, I can't say I'm familiar.
No. Basically, the program is run there are high school students who are nominated and selected that go down and work with at-risk youth at the elementary school, and they serve as big brothers and big sisters to our at-risk elementary students on usually Thursday afternoon and participate and do activities and events and mentor our younger learners.
So how the selection process takes place and who does the training?
The selection process is done through the guidance office, and there's a screening, and it's all done as part of the program that is run. The big contract and everything was posted online for your review.
It doesn't, there's no cost.
There's no
So
cost.
I sort of perused the.
Yeah.
No, there is no cost. Trying to understand the whole process and how it works with students. So
It's run through the
Do
guidance
they-
office.
do the students have, like, yes, I would like to do that, no, I would not like to do that? Parents, do they get contacted? with that?
The students all sign up. There is permission from the parents that they apply. There's an application. Guidance does the selection and the interview, and they work with the agency, and it's all set up through there. I didn't bring it with me.
Okay. Thank you.
Number 4 is approval of the BCIU Transperfect Interpretation and Translation Services. Costs are as listed. Number 5 is the Naviance Power School quote for 22-23, cost of $64.96.
I would like to ask about Naviance if you, because I understand it's middle school, high school. My daughter only heard about it once. There apparently, should be parent access. I don't find it very well utilized at the moment by the counselors or the students. So if we're going to pay the money, is it going to be actually better utilized than it's currently?
You asking about the trans,
No,
Number five.
Naviance.
oh, the Navi, okay.
The Naviance supposed to be a program to help for college applications in the future. Remember I brought it up, like collecting the points. So when you apply, you have like a record. Am I seeing it correctly? So that should be the program where, you put your little eggs, golden eggs in the basket that you can help you later on with application process, but been seriously underutilized.
As it was explained before, the reason it was underutilized in the middle school is because of COVID, because it usually starts in 7th grade, but because of the mental health and the other areas that the counselors were working on, it got pushed to the back burner. They really did not start to use it until mid-year of this year for 7th and 8th grade, because the big push was of VETM, trying to get the character ed pieces, trying to get the socialization back, because the middle school did miss a majority of the character building pieces of the socialization and the mental health pieces that we were dealing in the middle school. We chose to, with counselors and with the teachers, to put Naviance on the back burner. High school has not. High school has continued to use it. High school continues to build upon it. The high school will continue to work with next year's 9th graders to build up and to build them what they missed when they work on it in 9th grade. 7th grade has already rolled it out. Counselors to 7th graders in the middle school this year, so they are back on track. But we made that conscious choice to focus on the mental health in the middle school and on the character ed pieces and the socialization pieces, given what we were facing in 7th and 6th in particular, from a behavior and social emotional standpoint, and some of the gaps in the issues that we were facing due to the COVID gaps and for the fact that those kids were out for a year and a half versus putting behind a computer and worrying about the career pieces of it. So that will be taken care of and it will be addressed. It is a gap that we know of and it is a gap that will be addressed going forward. And that's why it was not implemented like it normally would have if COVID had not existed.
How long has this been used in the high school? How many years has it been used in high school now?
With probably 8 or 9.
An effective program?
Yeah, very much so.
And is it like,
Did your kids use it?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
is it monitored through the teachers or guys? So is that something now that the librarian is gonna be more on top of? as far
No,
as-
it goes through guidance and it's all they meet with the kids one-on-one and it's all built
So
through
it's
there.
just guys.
It's guidance and then the English department also uses it with the teacher, with the students as they build their resumes and their portfolios. And we've actually started building resumes and cover letters as far back as 5th and 6th grade. And then they start to build all of that, but nothing counts until they're in 9th grade. So they don't put a lot of their artifacts into NIVIANS until 9th grade because colleges don't want to see anything that occurred before 9th grade.
Oh,
So in 7th and 8th grade, it's more exploratory and getting used to it and doing some career interest stuff. Taking, some of the inventories and all of that kind of things because they don't want to see anything that happened before your 9th grade year. So it really starts to build when you get into 9th grade. So between the English department and guidance counselors is when it really starts to start in 9th grade. And then the guidance counselors, they meet at least twice, if not more, and then they really start to explore more of it.
Yeah, when we started, it was an efficient, very efficient. And the kids really enjoyed using it too, because it kept them on task, for what they had to do for a career. But I think you were right to do what you did, because
Yeah, that's been huge in middle school,
if we're back on track now, use it.
Correct.
Most important thing. So we're good.
Number 6 is the independent contractor with Linda Woodland. She is the medical authorization provider for school-based access. She reviews all of the IEPs and does the reviews in order for us to be able to bill for access services. And each IEP she bills $8 an IEP, and then we are able to submit for access. You pull between $60,000 and $80,000 a year in additional revenue based on what she provides you.
Yeah, that's good.
Number 7 is the Schoology contract for next year for all 3 schools. Cost is $11,003. And that did go up slightly, not a lot.
Any problems with school team seems to be working very well.
Property transportation to ratify the following bus drivers for 21-22 school year. Caitlin Riley, is that the bus driver for the school or Quigley?
Well, they're all Quigley.
Yeah, sometimes that gets confusing because some of the previous agendas said school bus drivers and then say Quigley bus drivers. So it was very inconsistent. So it made me think that we have 2 separate bus drivers.
We don't own any buses.
Yeah, we don't.
So-
Yeah, if it's somebody like a teacher, they'll say van.
It's for a band or something, right?
We only own vans. We don't own any buses.
Well, okay.
Yeah, sometimes we have to approve a van driver, which is a lot of times a teacher, right?
Right.
They have to
Or
take a little course or whatever. and how to
Okay.
drive it.
No.
And they only drive our vehicles. They can't drive.
Right.
Ratify the agreement with Hawk Incorporation for masonry repairs at the high school. Cost not to exceed $137,274. What's the R bond to?
Capital reserve.
So we have to go to them, that they're a certified, state certified contractor.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? That
That means they're on state contract approved in order to do that level of work. They've done a lot of our masonry work when it has to do with the repointing and the resealing of the brick.
are they actually doing? I
Yeah.
mean, the truck's back in, they say how come?
Yeah.
They're outsourcing people that we can be paying a lot of.
Oh, no, that price compared to some of the other preliminary estimates we had from Bachman and some of the others, just rough estimates,
But you have to be state certified.
yeah, state contract.
Did you have a previous estimate?
I had verbal estimates, I did not have written estimates.
I don't know if you have to be state certified to do the work.
Not state contract.
Right,
do.
they're on a state contract. which means-
Contractor, a state contractor has to be able to
Yeah, at that price.
underwrite or whatever. the work
Right.
Oversee.
House does a lot of our masonry. work.
But they are not subcontracting any of their,
No,
that is, they're in-house people.
they're doing a lot of work. House done a lot of our repointing and our flashing. Especially right now because they, a lot of water infiltration issues right now on the backside of the building.
Yeah. you know, on this one.
It's a good job for BCIU students
Waiting
to
on the
learn.
water.
What's that?
So it sounds like a good job for some BCIU students to come over and learn.
No,
Yeah, you see schmooze all over the side of the building.
that's called dealing with 1962 brick. That the verbal estimates we had from another company was well in excess of over 200,000. And that was just eyeballing walking in.
How did you solicit that?
I have multiple companies that we have for different things that we walk around, but Half has been the one we've been using for repointing and brick sealing for years.
Did they actually be advertised, or this is just a state contract?
State contract, you wouldn't bid on a project like that. That'd be a waste of money.
And the one that's online, the 5 page, is the full contract document, or this is just their standard letter that they submit?
That's the estimate, yeah. That's the invoice, yeah.
And it's just an estimate.
That's the not to exceed number, yeah.
That's the not to exceed.
Not-
So it's,
Yeah, that's the work
Without the
for
details.
this building. I don't have the one on the other two buildings.
Okay. Any questions? Motion to approve the MOU for the Oley Township Municipal Authority regarding the middle school sewer meter reading and billing. I did not see anything online on that. Did I miss it? That-
That should have been posted. That's the MOU for the township, the water issue, the sewer issue that we've been working on for the last several years is finally resolved.
By the base and all that stuff, right?
Has nothing to do with the basing. That's the issue with if you remember, with Paul and with, John. Smalley, and I have Mr. Richard has been, and I ran it past him as well, since he was involved in that from the beginning. They will finally be billing us off of the sewer meter, not off of the water meter. The issue has been reviewed by the engineer. It has been resolved. All of the issues are now satisfactory. They will be approving theirs. Actually, I think it is tonight at the township meeting. It does control who is doing what. John has reviewed the meter, has reviewed the MOU as well. It does correct the issues, so they should finally get off our backs. At least they're not building for now, anyway. But they're satisfactory with the issues that they claim was the problem. So
it was a billing issue?
they were billing us off the water meter and not off. We put in a sewer meter because there was a big difference between the water meter and the sewer meter, and our sewer bills on that building were astronomical for the newest of the huge off in there. And then they were saying that they were gonna force us to pay for plan upgrades, and been years of a mess. And finally it turned out it really wasn't our issue in the end. So we resolved it through this MOU, and then they can go back until they pick on us. So that's what the MOU.
That's it.
Student activities.
Oh, sorry. Motion number one, class of 22, their Boston trip, as you heard, did not come off. They could not get enough kids to go. So they're taking, right now, there's 59 signed up, and they're still selecting more for May 20th to go to Hershey Park from during the day, 9:15 to 7:15 p.m. And the costs are listed for you.
Any problems with that? Okay, we're good.
Number two is the Oley Valley Youth League field hockey flyer for grade 3 K-6. Last one is the district is offering, once again, K-12 student athletic and athletic accident insurance for AIG and administrators. Will be posted online for August 1 to August 1, 2023. And information will be available at each office and through the athletic office.
Anything else for student activity?
We will have the update on the co-ops for the June meeting.
Okay.
He's finalizing some of that stuff now. And then the last thing is there was a discussion, a request to discuss the May 18th board meeting to start late because of the expo.
This, the STEM Expo is that evening at, I think it's all three schools, correct?
Yes, all three schools.
So that's still something I usually am interested in, try to attend if I can. But that was actually start though.
Five.
So we were just curious if anybody would be willing to push the meeting to 7:30 so we could attend that and then come here afterwards if anybody wants to attend that. But I mean, I'll throw it out there to the crowd. It's not my call, so. That could be a
I'm
problem.
I was planning on hopping into that one too, yeah, I mean, that's fine.
That's fine.
It'd be, it'll, I mean, it could be, the time goes by fast and before you know it, you have to come up here. So yeah, if we can push it even a half hour to 7:30 would be great. So we've got a winner. 7:30. 7:30 works for everybody?
And
Make your way around the other buildings and just make this the last building.
yeah, just a couple more things, maybe like people in the audience, I know there's been several call outs for Adopt a Senior. So if
We just picked up an extra one.
pass the word,
For what now?
Adopt a Senior.
Yeah, we picked up an extra one yesterday. Somebody that didn't have a. we
Yeah,
adopted
so
somebody
there's
else.
still need for our community to adopt a senior, to make their day.
Wait, what do you, I don't know what you're talking about, I have no idea.
There's been, okay, there's a program, correct me if I'm wrong, so basically the community reaches out to Ms. Finnerty, the secretary, Lynn, I believe. I can
You probably know a
look it
lot
up.
about
Yeah, basically, graduating class, different families pick up a senior graduating and they have like a little goodie basket, maybe some,
Right, gift certificates.
yeah,
Some,
a sweatshirt with their college, emblem on there. We did it last year with my kid, with Catholic graduate last year. We did it again this year. We picked up an extra kid because they didn't have a parent. So we adopted 2 kids this year, so.
Do they all get one? I mean,
I believe the entire senior class,
Oh.
from what I understand, gets,
yeah, but there's
It's a nice program.
It's-
The kids get a little
yeah,
goodie
no,
basket from
I-
their
that's
parent.
fine. I honestly never, is that something new?
It
Fairly
is,
new?
it is new because it was
Yeah,
started because of COVID, because the first class
yeah,
didn't get very
I
much.
see, okay.
yeah,
And so it was a way of honoring them.
Yeah.
And, making
nice
sure
thing.
they got something special
Yeah.
because they had so
Nice.
much denied to them, unfortunately.
There's $50 limit,
Yeah.
so not exceed $50.
yeah, toilet paper, it might be a.
Yeah, if you can
Trash,
contact,
toilet paper,
pass
like
the
that.
word out, we're still looking for more people to adopt, kids to adopt. And then on the same token, if there's any retired parents, women, whatever, that would like to apply for the bus drivers, they could use your help. Go to Quigley.
Mhm.
So that's it.
And, Nancy did come to the meeting at my house the other night, and Dawn and I, so we talked about things. This is kind of what the poodle noodle will look like. They'll be giant. Dawn and I are already looking forward to making them. And the T-shirt that we came upon was on the front. It says Oley Valley School Board with the pencil on it. And on the back, it says, education is the key to unlock the door to freedom. To go along with showing your
Patriotism.
yeah, you're showing your patriotism. That's a quote from George Washington Carver. So, Dawn has a friend who will make the T-shirts for us. You will, have to, of course, pay for it yourself. The rest of it, we will be decorating with red, white, and blue. And that will be my donation. I will pay for that, to decorate the float. We will make a big thing too with this education is the key to unlock the door to freedom. And we'll put that on the float too. We plan on having some benches on there for people to sit on. And you can pass out candy. And we're also going to have pencils that hopefully we have some people that will walk along that will pass out pencils also. So that's what Nancy and Dawn and I came up with. If anybody else has any ideas or don't care for this idea, let me know. Okay?
How's it work? Do we have to rent a float or buy a float or
Yeah,
I have to float.
we have a float?
we have a float.
We're taking, did you talk to Eric?
No, I haven't yet, no.
Do you want the tractor or the truck, or are you taking the trailer bed?
The trailer, but the bigger.
Yeah,
We have a driver for the tractor / truck?
Yeah, we have all-
Okay.
that's my
I'll
job.
drive it.
She's got-
No, you're in the back
I'll
dancing
drive
with
it.
the pencil.
Oh, I'm handing out pencils.
I'm throwing candy. I like that part. Okay, so that's what we have in mind, if anybody, wants to look at it closer. And I mean, this is just a quick thing I drew up to show anybody who came to my house for the meeting, which Nancy showed, so. But Dawn and I had already, gone through
Sounds
it.
great. Anybody else got anything? Ooh, that was quick. Guess we'll see you all next week.